Okay then, hello again everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to be having a look at the Gerber Strongarm up close and personal. So as usual, I'll give you the specs, I'll give you my experience with the knife. I suppose the first thing I should say about this knife is that there are tons of videos out there already, lots of destruction tests, which are, I think, very useful videos if you're interested in that sort of thing. I certainly am, because I'm not going to do destruction tests on my knives, but it's good to know how tough they actually are. So they're worth checking out. Actually, that was one of the selling points for me in the first place on this knife. Basically, I wanted to get a knife that was, for all intents, indestructible. Just something incredibly tough, amazingly durable, that's just going to last and last no matter what I throw at it. And as you can see, I've got some wear on it. I've used it for some fairly tough tasks already, and obviously it has stood up to those tasks. But I do recommend checking out those extreme tests that people do with this. Basically, I haven't seen a video where someone has been able to completely destroy this knife. And there are videos out there of people shooting the blade and the bullet just bouncing right off. I've seen videos of people basically hammering the knife into a tree and then using it as a rung for a ladder, so standing on the handle. There's all sorts of stuff out there, but yeah, that's all good good marketing for Gerber, I think, and showing you how tough this blade is. The other reason I wanted it was because I wanted to get an American-made knife. Really, it doesn't matter that much where a knife is made, as long as it's made of good stuff and those materials are well put together and all of that. But just for my own personal collection, I like to have knives made in different countries. So I have knives made in Japan, Finland, Sweden, Spain, Ukraine, and other places. And yeah, I wanted an American-made knife. These are normally pretty expensive, but the Strongarm is relatively well priced. This comes in right now at $100 on Gerber's own website. I picked it up for around about the €100 mark as well, so I think that's about right for this knife. As you can see here, made in Portland. As far as the serial number goes, I think the last two digits indicate the year of production. So this will be a 2023. I can't swear to that, but that is what I have heard. So here it is, the Strongarm. Is it the toughest knife in existence? Is it as strong as people say it is? Well, it's called a Strongarm, so hopefully it would live up to its name. Let's talk about the specs a little bit here, and then I'll tell you what I've actually used this knife for so far. So the blade steel is 420HC, which is actually a stainless steel. The HC stands for high carbon, although with 420HC it has basically increased carbon content, which can be heat treated to a higher hardness. So there's more carbon in it than standard 420. This particular one I have here has a ceramic coating. It's Cerakote, which is helpful for corrosion resistance, and also you might like the aesthetic of a blacked out blade. The handle here is made of essentially kind of just incredibly tough rubber, and then here at the end and here at the cross guard, these are I think it might be some sort of injection molded glass composite, something like that. But anyway, it's incredibly tough. It's really, really rigid. Yeah, absolutely solid, the handle. It's a full tang construction. I have seen one video of someone basically just taking the whole handle off, and you can see that the tang, it's not the width of the blade. It wouldn't fit into the handle if it were the width of the blade, but it kind of follows this pattern here. So it's not quite a rat tail, but it's a thin tang, and then it comes to a point here, which is the pommel that can serve as a glass breaker and also has a built-in hole for a lanyard, should you choose to use that. I have some positive thoughts about that, but then also I think there's one drawback, which I will get to. So all in all, incredibly well built, incredibly robust knife. It is, for all intents, indestructible, and that was kind of my hope in purchasing this knife. It has a 12.7 centimeter blade, with 4.75 millimeter blade stock. So it's on the thicker side. There we go, my camera's picking it up now. Yeah, 90-degree spine as well, and then it comes to a clip point at the end here. Yeah, and there you have it. So, 420HC, incredible toughness. Very good corrosion resistance as well. It's very easy to sharpen because 420HC is a relatively soft steel. So I have sharpened the knife a couple of times. I have had to sharpen it because that's one of the drawbacks of this steel. It doesn't hold its edge for very long. So you can get it super sharp, but then it just doesn't stay super sharp for a very long time, especially if you use it for some heavy-duty work. So I like that. I would take a very durable and easy to sharpen steel over a very brittle steel that holds its edge for longer, personally. I like toughness more than anything else in a knife. Doesn't get much tougher than this, in my experience so far anyway. Okay then, let's have a look at the sheath over here. Here it is. It's molded and snaps in. Pretty good retention. There's not much rattle unless you actively try to get it to rattle. The thing is, the handle is pretty heavy, so I think you have to consider carefully what angle you want to carry the knife at. And by the way, it comes with these straps which allow for tons of different mounting options. There's this one here, and there's this one here. So maul attachment and anything else you can imagine, basically. It's incredibly versatile. I don't use any of these. I think it's really cool that it comes with these, but when I carry this knife, if I take it out somewhere, basically it just goes into the bottom of my bag like this, and it just sits there. So yeah, if you are going to carry it in another way, like attached to your backpack or something, or your belt, just consider that the handle is heavy, so it might not be so great for scout carry, even if it is possible. Okay, let's look at the sheath in a little bit more detail here. We've got these little rugged sections here, which function as thumb push-offs, which is really good. By the way, this is an ambidextrous sheath, so you can put the knife in any way you wish. If you're left-handed, it'll work for you as well. I tend to put it in this way like so spine first, and then just ease it in so the blade isn't making contact. The design of it is molded, so this little bit here aligns with the injection molded, or however they've built this crossguard here. It just clips like that. That's how it works. I think it's a pretty decent sheath. No complaints. Works so well. Works well so far for me anyway, for the way I use it. So, how have I been using it? Well, the first thing I did is I took it out back and I just did some chopping with it on a piece of really hard wood. Took a lot longer than I thought, actually. Just basic chopping for about 20 straight minutes on this piece of wood to get through it. But I was determined to really test it and really chop that piece of wood. And one thing that I noticed is that the knife could handle it fine. Obviously, it blunted it a bit. But one thing that did happen is I got a huge blister around about here from all the chopping. So something I learned here is if you're going to use this knife for an extended period of time, you're probably going to want to wear gloves. Because this diamond texture, whilst it's very grippy and it's very comfy, over time, that's going to wear into your skin a little bit if you're doing hard use stuff with the knife for a long time. So just something to bear in mind. Another thing is I had to make a javelin for something. I won't get into the details of it, but it basically had to be a prop javelin. So I wasn't making, something ultra realistic, or I didn't have to make it so it could function and be super sharp. But I did have to basically craft a sharp-ish point to the end of the javelin. So I was just trimming it away like that, and yeah, the knife handled that pretty fine. I used a fairly hard piece of wood for that too. It was a mop originally, I think, or a broom. Yeah, probably a broomstick I used for that. Anyhow, maybe I'll splice in some footage of that javelin, and you can see it's not super sharp. But anyway, this knife helped me with that task. If I had to make it sharp, I probably would be able to do that with this knife, no problem. Also, I've used this to pry things open. I know you're not really supposed to use knives for prying, but when the tip is this tough and you're very careful, then why not? It can work for that purpose. Okay then, everybody, that almost covers everything. There was one last thing I wanted to talk about, which is this lanyard hole / glass breaker. I think it's good that it's there. I like the inclusion of it. My only issue with it is when you put the knife away, you can return it like that, and then when you push down with your hand to click it into place, this bit kind of sticks out and it's a bit spiky. So every time you're going to get that digging into your hand a little bit, whichever way you look at it. Unless you're able to return the knife with a grip like this, which is not likely, most people I think are probably going to want to put the knife in and then click it into place with the palm of their hand, and this spiky bit is always going to strike the palm of your hand, unfortunately. So would I change that? Maybe. I think this could be rounded, and it would still function well enough as a striking tool. But yeah, the point could be filed down, I think. Also, looking at the handle, you can see it's not totally symmetrical, which is actually quite a good thing because it means you can tell which way you're holding the knife without looking at it. Okay, so the cross guard is symmetrical, but near the pommel end, you can see it flares out a little bit more to this side, and this is the side of the blade edge. So if you're removing the knife in the dark for some reason, I don't know, maybe you're out in the forest and there's not much light, you can actually tell, if you practice a little bit, if you get a feel for it, you'll be able to know which way the blade is facing. But anyway, we shouldn't be using knives in the dark. Just a little bit of info there. All right, Gerber Strongarm. I love this knife, and if you've made it through this video, me just talking about it, I would say definitely go and check out those destruction tests because they are very informative. I'm so glad that there are people out there doing those tests and educating people like me on how tough a knife is or not. And the Strongarm, from what I've seen, just one of the toughest knives out there. And for all intents, as far as what a person could use a knife for, it's indestructible, you know. Not in a literal sense, because no material is literally indestructible, but for what you could use a knife for, it's indestructible. All right, with that in mind, this is the Gerber Strongarm. I've got the Coyote brand version. There are a couple of other versions. There's a blacked out version of the knife. There's a very cool version, which I think is quite limited, which has a green handle, and it has an uncoated blade. It has a stonewash, and then the sheath and attachments are all black. But I think that's quite a limited one. That's maybe the nicest looking one as well, I think. But now I've got one, I don't think I would buy a second one, because this thing is just going to last forever. You can also get the blade plain edge like this, and you can get a serrated edge version too, so there are some variations out there to meet everybody's needs. Gerber Strongarm, made in the USA, around about the $100, €100 mark. I can thoroughly recommend it. I really like this knife, and it's going to stay with me forever, and it's probably going to last forever. So thanks again for joining me to listen to me talk about a knife. And if you have a Gerber Strongarm, tell me what you think about it and what your experiences have been with it, because I know there are a lot of owners out there. There are some fakes out there as well, as in fake Strongarms. There are some identifiers as to how you can tell if it's real or not. I won't get into those here, but there's a very good video out there that I saw, a guy who posted a video of a fake Strongarm, not knowing it, and he talked about the Strongarm in detail, and people pointed out to him, hey, you have the fake version. And then what he did is he went and bought the real version, and then he did a side-by-side comparison, and then educated everybody watching on the differences between the two. I thought that was a really cool thing to do, just enlightening people and learning from the fact that he had bought a fake one in the first place, and then he went and bought a real one, and now is helping everybody distinguish between the two. So don't get a fake Strongarm. They're not crazy expensive anyway. So yeah, I recommend getting the real thing. And that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for checking this out, and I hope to see you next time.